Rigathi Gachagua launched his Democracy for Citizens Party, a party that has taken the country by storm, and Rigathi Gachagua's supporters are over the moon with joy because they feel finally, at last, it is like the promised land. But ladies and gentlemen, politics is a dirty game, and political pundits are now warning that Rigathi Gachagua should not celebrate too much, and his eyes must be focused on the ball, the real target. You know that the main reason for forming political parties is to capture power through the available democratic means. In this case, in 2027, Rigathi's main goal is to defeat William Samoei Ruto. But you also understand that in the Kenyan politics, we have set a standard that you cannot win an election, the presidential election, based on your tribe alone. And therefore, you must have a coalition with other parties. Now, people are still celebrating, but very many experts are saying that this is like a wedding. You know, after a wedding, people go for honeymoon. And then comes the real challenges. There are responsibilities in the family. There are bills to pay. And people are telling Rigathi Gachagua that there could be very many stumbling blocks ahead of him. Understanding that he's now very happy, he's got his party. He's always said that he joined William Ruto in 2022 without any written document, unlike people like Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, Speaker of the Senate, Amason Kingi. They all had an MOU that was describing how to get your share. Sam Gituku warned Rigathi Gachagua and his allies plus all the supporters that it is not rosy. It is not going to be a walk in the park as people head to 2027. I want us to listen to Sam Gituku because the message he is giving might not be very palatable, it might not be very popular, but it is a fact. And even as we watch Sam Gituku, allow me to request you to like and share our videos. Please don't forget to like as well the video. If you have not subscribed, please click the subscription button and then the notification bell to allow YouTube to notify you whenever we release a video like this. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to kindly listen to Sam Gituku because when we come back, we want to have a discussion on this.
Sisi watu ya mlima ndio tulikupatia 47% ukakuwa rais wa Kenya. Hii mlima hii ilikufanya wewe kuwa rais ndio itakupeleka nyumbani.
Actually, yeah. That should tell you the intention of, please move with me, intention of Democracy for the Citizens Party. I have to be very careful because even the former deputy president got it wrong at some point when he was talking about democracy for
well, he wouldn't be the first
party. Yeah. So it's DCP. And if you reference what JB was saying here, hi JB, was saying here about Rigathi Gachagua was speaking about Fred Matiang'i coming up with a party from his region, and the fact that Jeremiah Kioni many months ago or many weeks ago said that Jubilee Party has endorsed Fred Matiang'i. The reason why Rigathi Gachagua is telling Fred Matiang'i come with a party whose roots are in Kisii is because it has an own competition in the mountain. Jubilee is still considered as, if you have to recall what remained of Jubilee Party in the year 2022, is still considered largely a political party from the Mount Kenya region. So he does not want confusion, that you have two competing parties in Mount Kenya region.
There's only one kingpin.
Exactly, because if that were to happen, then you'll find that instead of having a sweep by DCP members into the National Assembly, into the Senate, or into the county assemblies in that region, then you find there's a split vote. That's why you find in some counties it is actually not UDA that got the majority seats in some of those areas. I think like in Meru County, before the post-election coalitions that were formed or relations that were formed, you find that UDA did not have a majority. It was actually the Bas Party, or Mbas Party by Kiraitu Morongi, and of course a few members that were independent and others that were from UDA. Now, so that is very clear on what Rigathi Gachagua wants with DCP and Mount Kenya region. The other question is about, like Linus was talking about, all these interested parties. You're talking about Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, who since the year 2017, I recall, I think it was in February 2017, he was at the Bomas of Kenya and he was saying, at the age of 63, what would I be waiting to be president? Why would I wait an extra day? And then in the run-up to 2022 election, he was busy saying, I would be the biggest, most stupid person to support Raila Odinga one more term. And you recall the sort of situation that was in the Azimio coalition when they were looking for a running mate. They even had to hold interviews which Martha Karua became the nominee. And there was a bit of discomfort with Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka at that time. So I think one of the biggest headaches they have in this team is how to satisfy the interest of each of these candidates, because each of them has a claim as to why they should be the ones getting that ticket. For Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, I think that would be one of the hardest bargainers. And he has said it before, that I am like a buffalo. I negotiate hard. So they should be prepared for this, because when it comes to considering the opportunities that Fred Matiang'i is looking for, JB Muturi, who leads the DP party, is looking for. You're also talking about Eugene Wamalwa from DAPK, or what you'll be looking for. So having to, even when Rigathi Gachagua says, hatuwezi kosana, I have heard that before. In that case, he was referring to President William Ruto and himself.
Right.
Walikosana kukosana?
Maneno hayo sio mageni.
Lakini, sikiza wa Kenya.
All of you will agree with Sam Gituku that there is a mountain to climb. In this video, let us try and expand that discussion let us pick it from where Sam Gituku left it. What are some of the biggest challenges that Rigathi Gachagua is going to find on his way as he tries to ensure that William Ruto is a one-term president? Because Rigathi has declared William Ruto a one-term president. He says Kasongo one-term, Muaji one-term. Now, he has even declared that atapeleka Ruto mbio kama baiskeli ambayo imeibiwa. What are some of these challenges? And ladies and gentlemen, let us start it from where he's left it. The number one challenge that Rigathi Gachagua is going to face after launching Democracy for Citizens Party is internal competition, the supremacy battle within Mount Kenya, because this party is a new party, and it is going to wrestle power and popularity and fame and numbers with other parties, especially Jubilee Party. And if he's not very careful, he must handle this very carefully, because Jubilee feels it is the party of the people. Jubilee feels it is the party for Mount Kenya people. Rigathi Gachagua feels he has galvanized the support of Mount Kenya, and so he feels his party is the new kid on the block. I can assure you that if he's not careful, the wrangles between Jubilee Party and the DC Party is a make or break for Rigathi Gachagua and the other leaders in Mount Kenya. It is said there, because this is a sentiment that the Jubilee Secretary General had opined to, Jeremiah Kioni, that the main reason why Rigathi Gachagua wants FREDRICK Matiang'i to traverse Mount Kenya using a party which has got its roots from the Abagusi is because he fears competition. He does not want confusion. He wants Mount Kenya wholly for himself. But let me tell you, as they head towards 2027, there are going to be nominations. Who to be the flag bearer from the ward level, all the way to the gubernatorial position. I can assure you that if they are one of the very precarious moments for a party is that nomination. Who exactly is given, the party ticket? Rigathi Gachagua had said that he's not going to favor anyone despite the long journey you've walked, the longest, how you've worked with him the longest time, how you've been there for him, and is promising that it is going to be very competitive. But if you ask William Ruto or Kalonzo Musyoka or Raila Amolo Odinga, you'll understand that during grassroots elections and nominations, things are tight. I remember sometimes the late Otieno Kajwang was saying, fidelity to the party is paramount. They have to look for someone who's loyal. So even though Rigathi is saying that he's not going to give direct nominations and direct ticket, I can assure you it is going to be very difficult. Now, in light of this, that is when he might, witness mass exodus. Mwingine anafeel ni kana kwamba hajafanyiwa justice in the DCP. He heads to Jubilee. Remember, just recently, Jichupevu Mohamed Ali, the member of parliament of Nyali, complained that during the grassroots elections, the current UDA chairman was trying to conduct those elections with a lot of favoritism, and they had said that they would soon move out. So, one of the very reasons and one of the very hurdles that Rigathi Gachagua must grapple with is the internal competition that is within Mount Kenya. There are other parties like MPESA, the TS party, I don't know that it still exists, ile ya Mwangi Kiunjuri. There are several parties. We have DP. Rigathi would want to have his party as the mainstream party. It is going to be a mountain to climb. Even within DCP, just give him time until the end of honeymoon. That is when you realize that other members start looking at each other with some kind of suspicion, and it's not going to be very easy. Number two, I have said that we have set a standard as a country that you cannot win an election on your own. You have to team up with others. As currently constituted, the opposition team consists of Rigathi Gachagua, who seems to be leading the pack. And Rigathi has made it very clear that for you to be considered, you must start by galvanizing the support base in your bedroom. Matiani must gather the support base of a Bagusi community. And that is the reason why Matiani made just a one-day tour within the Bagusi, and people came out in large numbers to endorse him. On that day, he left out all the co-principals. That's exactly what Rigathi did today, leaving them out. Kalonzo has no problem. He's got the support of Kamba. Any other serious contender there, apart from Matiani? Martha Karua, it might not be very easy for her because Mount Kenya is with Rigathi, not unless Rigathi says, let us support Martha Karua. Now, the biggest trouble that is looming for Rigathi Gachagua, because he has set his eyes on the promised land, and he wants to ensure that he makes William Ruto a one-term president. But these people, all of them are egocentric. In fact, all politicians are egocentric and very selfish. They will first think of themselves and their interest, then that of the family, then the closest friends, then maybe others. Others that are thought of at the last are the ones that are being used to give them that power. So Sam Gituku is saying there that Kalonzo Musyoka, you remember how he was compelled, coerced to support Raila Amolo Odinga for the third time, because number one, political circumstances within that period there was no room for him. William Ruto had given himself the ticket to be the president. Rigathi was supposed to be the deputy. The chief minister was supposed to be the Amani National Congress man, my DVD. So even if Kalonzo had to run away, maybe he was going to be a speaker or something that he believes is below his interest. And Uhuru Kenyatta played a very pivotal role. Do you want to tell me that Kalonzo Musyoka is going during the negotiating table, because they will have to negotiate? He qualifies, he's got the experience, he's got the numbers from Ukambani. Do you think he's going to play second fiddle to any person? I can assure you it is not going to be very easy. Fred Matiang'i seems to be going for nothing but the presidency. There are fears that the supremacy fights and battles within the opposition might jeopardize their chances of capturing power, and William Ruto must just pita katikati. So that is another problem that Rigathi Gachagua must be ready to grapple with. Number 3, infiltration by the NIS, by the deep state, by Ruto allies. Even as we speak, there are suspicions that William Ruto might have one of his people inside that camp. If there is one thing that William Ruto will not sit back and watch, is a united opposition. William Ruto will do everything and anything within his reach to ensure that he has his people to divide the opposition. Now, even if we have to start with the officials, people like Malala and all the group that he had unveiled as the officials, they can easily be compromised. There's a lot of money that is being, stolen in this country, and the money is waiting 2027. If we are not careful, we are going to vote majority of the UDA members. Why? If we still, we are still going to worship corruption, we are still going to worship, the politics of tokenism, where you are given a 2,500, 200, and you're told vote for Fred Achando, even if it's not popular. I can assure it is not going to be very easy. So Rigathi Gachagua must be very careful. Some of his members can easily be bribed or intimidated. Watangalia wale wako na some cases hapo kidogo, DCI ama the EACC is on you. But even within the opposition, William Ruto might sponsor someone to be there, listening and reporting, so that in the fullness of time, they will know. Because as he reports, the NIS will be working day and night to know how to divide. There's a general feeling that William Ruto will sponsor someone in Mount Kenya, even if they decide to unveil Matiang'i or Rigathi Gachagua. So the infiltration is another thing that Rigathi Gachagua must be ready to face head on. The problem is you might not even know who he is. I remember in the run-up to 2022, Cleopas Malala was quoting William Ruto, and he was denying it. On the day when Francis Atwoli and Azimio decided that they were going to call for a rally in Buhungu, there was no any other choice. Malala also organized for a parallel meeting in Mumias. I think it was something to do with some football match, and William Ruto was going to be there, because that is the day when Oparanya, Atwoli, and the group were going to know who was with them and who was with the other camp. So I remember Babu Namwamba and Malala had no choice. You were either to be in Buhungu Stadium. So they decided to share Patikana, wacha tuende Mumias. But for quite some times, Malala was denying that he was quoting. I remember I was being told, you are meeting Ruto at night. That is what will be happening. There are people who will be in that meeting during the day and they meet Ruto at night. So infiltration is something that he has to be ready to meet. Number 4, stage-managed violence during rallies. You realize that anytime Rigathi is in a meeting with these people, either at a funeral or some meeting, town hall meeting, or in a rally, then all of a sudden, violence. Some people will even, put on the t-shirts of the DCP, and they will start torching vehicles or houses, harassing people, and then it will be told, Rigathi Gachagua people, these are fans of Rigathi, followers of Rigathi Gachagua, and then the DCI will come in, they will start banning their rallies and saying, your rallies are becoming very violent. So these are things that he must be ready to meet. Just managed to justify why he could not go to such a rally. If anything, this started, I remember the first time he went for a funeral in Limuru, some goons came. Even during the launch, some goons came. One funny thing is that some government official was still saying, maybe state managed. So these are things that the government is going to perpetuate. Then government bloggers, they will be all over social media. Like right now, I saw some youths coming up and saying that Rigathi is extorting money from them. I don't know, youths must pay 200,000, I don't know, something of that kind. You are going to see some of the videos where Rigathi used to say, hii ni one time, mara nini nini. They are going to fly social media because Rigathi has become a force to reckon with. And divide and rule is one thing that Rigathi must be very ready to meet. So ladies and gentlemen, it is not going to be a walk in the park. The celebration must not go beyond 1 week, because after the launch of the party, life must go on, and the real challenge is ahead of Rigathi Gachagua. I don't know whether they are going, how they are going to maneuver, but one thing that I can assure you, if the opposition is not going to remain firm as a united team, it is over. They are going to repeat the same mistake that happened. When was that? When Martin Shikuku, Mwai Kibaki, Kenneth Matiba, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga divided votes, and Moi had to become victorious. So William Ruto's victory or defeat depends on the unity or disintegration of the opposition party. Do you agree with Sam Gituko? What are some of the many challenges that we have left behind? And do you think Rigathi should go on with celebrations? Kindly share with me in the comment section.